what this actually turns into on YouTube. Their channels. There we go. So you have to click back and forth. Let's see what this actually turns into. Na, 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 making it hard to drive. And drugs making it hard. Making it hard. Your channel. Let's see. Okay, yeah, it looks like it. It looks like it shows up okay on this guy. All right, cool. Go live. Stream health. I can see myself. My big dumb head doing what it's gonna. All right, cool. Ooh. Every day is a struggle. All right. Arguing in IRC. All right, we editing. I don't think that we're going to find the lost dog that was previously in the channel topic, because that dog is hiding under a house. Hopefully, CJ has already found it. Fuck. Oh, I wish I could find that dog. Yeah, lost dog is one of the worst things that can happen to anybody. So, let's see. Dashboard, recent events. Okay, cool. All right, well, let's get back to editing this chapter. So we're up to chapter 16, which means that we are a quarter of the way through. But we're also, I think this edit was supposed to start in June 1st. So, yeah, many trials and tribulations, which means I've only been able to write like a quarter of the days that, not even a quarter of the available, maybe like 30 days. Like we're 1 in 3 for actually showing up to edit. And when I did the other books, I edited every single day. So there we go. Okay, cool. So I want to see if I can get this trigger to fire off there. And I think it's just going to be yours truly out here. But if you're out there in Radioland, tuned into the stream for whatever reason, just give me a holler in the chat. I'm trying to see if a bot works. Big shout outs to Sloth and to Agatha, who have sent in money for the Robin Martillo fundraisers. Within the next 56 days, I would like to get our charity donation up to $500, and I'm doing my part. Every time I curse on stream, I will pay $1 to the Leukemia Research Foundation. The Leukemia Research Foundation, I went to Charity Navigator and some of the other charity rating sites, and it seems like they do a pretty good job of getting money to actual research instead of like charity executives, which is always a worry with these things there. And personally, I think that if you really want to help people long term, research is more valuable than, you know, as much as it is great to like help sick kids and stuff like that. But if you want to address the problem structurally, I think research is the way to go. And that's why I've chosen the Leukemia Research Foundation. and I will present them with a giant oversized check for a piddling amount, and a copy of this book at the end of the whole thing. Because it just, keep in mind, we're writing. Uh, My grandfather was a proctologist at the Cleveland Clinic, Florida, and he passed away this week. R.I.P. Dr. Stefan D. Wexter, MD, PhD, and bless you for your service. Yeah, that guy spent his whole life dealing with assholes. So shout outs to Dr. Stephen D. Wexner. I can't even say your name, cunts, without giving $1 to charity. See, I can actually, because cunts is spelled Kuntz. All right, well, let's go through the thankless part of this here, which is Chapter 16, The Battle of Wintermoor. So we had this at the beginning of Chapter 15, and I thought it broke up the narrative too much. This stuff doesn't actually go into the book, but I still want to make sure that it is edited and follows like a consistent thing. I think I might have edited through this, but it can be a warm-up to where I'm actually editing. So, cunts, if you aren't familiar with the story, the idea of this tale, I Googled him, Google AI said he was the best. Bless that man. All right, so the idea of this story is this is a book about a young boy, he's 13 years old, Robin Martillo, who lives in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and he is initially diagnosed with acute lymphomic leukemia, and it's a pretty hard pill to swallow there. So he's very sick, and as he's recovering from chemotherapy, his grandmother takes him into a hobby store to buy him a chessboard, and he sees at the back of the store these big fat nerds playing a war game. And this is a ripoff of Warhammer and Chainmail and all the games that were popular. The story takes place in 1979. So he is entranced by this game, and he's so high on leukemia medication that he hallucinates a whole storyline and campaign for the miniature soldiers, and becomes a member of this game club and tries to get the power up and win the game. Meanwhile, all this medical drama is taking place, and there's a lot of it's written in Spanish, actually, which is a choice for somebody who speaks. I speak enough Spanish to work in a crew of Mexican dudes, and I speak enough Spanish to get a roof onto a house, running a crew of dudes. But by the way, when I run a crew of dudes, I'm up there on the roof with them, slinging shingles, getting tar all over me and stuff. Like I don't like those guys that just sit in the truck and dick around on their cell phone. I want to be down in the pit working, illegally excavating basements in Gravesend. Ugh. It always got me into trouble, because like they just construction guys, they do not like to have the job foreman or whatever like doing actual work. They're like, nah, I pay you to think, not to work. Hate that. Can't stand that. I pay you to tell them what to do. Like, it's yeah, I hated that job, by the way. So exploited. Anyhow, let's get into it. So the Heartbroken Brigade, 1,500 points, played by Robin Martillo. The General, Prescott the Sage, Imperial Wizard, equipped with a black scroll and the Tome of the Unknowable. Prescott must take the wizened onus, accompanied by Bobbert the Loyal Apprentice with elf friend and apt pupil. I think I edited this already. Hold on, oh no, I did not edit this. Hero, Burback Breakbow, Berserker Champion, equipped with 1,000 scored axe and the Unslakable Rage, and a Breath from Death perks, accompanied by 2 Blood Brothers, Runagir and Dwandan. 150 points. And then this is what let me know that we hadn't edited it. I have a period here. Hero, Hilg Stone's Throw, Master Shield Bearer, equipped with the Old Earth Bulwark and Against All Odds perk. 125 points. And this is all just stuff that I made up. This game doesn't exist. I just thought of a bunch of names and stuff that I thought would be cool. I just want to give the feel of, like, because keep in mind, like I was like a 13-year-old kid at one point, wandering into a hobby store, being like, wow, it's so cool. I want to get an army and paint it. So a lot of nostalgia for this period. So Hero, Cinnabonathi, Purus of the Hawkmoon, equipped with a Sky Metal Scimitar, Hawkmoon Bow with Shriek Shot Arrows, and the Bullseye perk. There's an extra space there, I can see. Cinnabanathi, there's another space there that I can see. Cinnabanathi bears the Rumors onus. Now here you go again, saying you want your freedom. All right, so Hero, Gunag Dorson, Master Halberdier, equipped with Imperial Mail, the Grand Hammer Banner, and the Blind Faith perk. Gunag has the Haunted by Melancholia onus. And then here we just have that. Cool. Here you go again. Units. Let's put a space here. There. We don't need to have those there. Units. 12 veteran shield bearers with the Remember Us perk. 2,200 points. Everybody gets a perk. 6 Oathsworn Berserkers with the Harder They Fall perk. I love you, man, but my actual grandfather croaked at the age of 97 2 weeks ago. And the funeral is early tomorrow, so I got to duck out and go to bed. Best of luck on your next novel. Well, thank you, just for popping in, cunts. Means a lot to me. Good luck with the funeral. Please do not make any Corporal E.T. Flood jokes over the casket, you savage. I know you're thinking about it. So, all right, love you, buddy. I'm gonna do another IRC D&D at some point. I'm thinking on it. No more crotch chalices, by the way. Stupid as shit. Oh, I gotta pay $1 to leukemia just for saying that. Thanks, cunts. I'm up to $14 that I've spent cursing on stream. This is great. Hell, I will not. You will be missed, buddy. Yeah, because without you, it's just me doing this nonsense. All right, so perk there. Haunted by Melancholia. I like the name of that onus, by the way. Remember Us perk, 200 points. 6 Oathsworn Berserkers with the Harder They Fall. The harder they come, the harder they fall, one and all. 200 points. Man, imagine cunts living at 97. What a blight on the world that'd be. All right. Allied units, 24 Imperial Halberdiers with improved arms and Imperial Mail, 200 points. 6 Hawkmoon. Okay, so we don't need spaces between all these. 6 Hawkmoon Elves armed with longbows and Shriek Shot arrows. And then there's that period that we got to take out of here. I don't know why I formatted this so slipshod. I know what happened is like I did not re-edit this. So, and then the second army, Ureg's Windborn Sellsworns, Rune Reavers. Let me see. Well, they're not Windborn. They're Windsworn. All right. 2,500 points, and then I think we played. Yeah. Let's put this in the same format as the first one there. All right, there we go. General, Ureg the Whirlwind, Outlawed Dervish, equipped with twin murderous flamberge, a snow panther mantle, and a draught of mind-numbing mead. Ureg has the perks Savage Strength and Bladestorm. Ureg must take the Fago Kalar Al Honam onus. Oh, cool. So the bot actually did its thing. That's awesome. Thank you, bot. We're streaming in support of the Leukemia Foundation. Please visit this thing to reach help or reach goal. To tip on stream, visit blah, 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 blah. And like if you send in a tip, I will add it to the kitty for the thing. During this edit, any tip or whatever just goes to research. That's it, boys. All right, let me see here. All right. Ureg, Fago Kalar on... Ow. Wow, I can't remember what this is. I think it's in Norwegian. Maybe it's in Finnish. I don't know what I was thinking with this guy here. I think it means honor or death or something like that. Oh, cool. Fago Kelar Alhonim calls death calls upon him. The phrase describes someone who is doomed, cursed, fated to die, implying a reckless or tragic demeanor. It derives from the Old Norse Figo, related to figure, fey doomed to die, and appears in classical texts like the Njal saga. Interesting. It is famously referenced in the title of Icelandic crime novel Figo with Stefan Mani, where the protagonist, a tough police officer, is haunted by past traumas and a looming confrontation with his nemesis. I wonder if it's any good. Well, we'll check it out there. But yeah, now you know the rest of the story. I'm seeing a lot of people fight on IRC, as they do. Oh, I'm so easily distracted by everything. All right, 370. That's a lot of points just for his general. Hero, Lasky Thrasher, Master Assassin. Equipped with 10 serpent scimitars, treated with instant death venom, Cloak of Swirling Shadows, and Black Kunai, treated with Red Madness Venom. Lasky has the perks Infiltrate, Vanish Without a Trace, and Double Dealing for 125 points. And then that character never actually he doesn't show up in the story at all. So Magus, Vesmali, Soul Stealer, equipped with a 3 demon stave, which is pulled out of another book, which I'm remembering that I need to finish also. Ooh, I have 2 novels that are like 85% completed that I need to rewrite after this. Why do I write so much? And make so little? Alright, Ves has the perks Undying and the Fickle Favor of Chaos. Ves has the Despise onus and cannot be attached to units. Broken units that fail their rally roll within charge distance of Vesmali must attack him, accompanied by an Imp Familiar, and we don't need that period at the end there. So, just spoiler alert, Sandy's army begins aligned with Chaos, but may not remain that way. Alright, so then our units, 24 Windsworn Reavers with Axes and the Lust for Plunder perk, 250 points. 12 Red Thumb Dervishes, equipped with Twin Scimitars and Red Rush Powder. Let's make them Jagged Scimitars. Why not? Maybe Serrated. Yeah, let's do Serrated. These guys are, I don't know, they're carving a turkey or something over here. There. How do I get control? Command I. Are you serious? Google, like, why can I not italic here? This keyboard is garbage, man. There we go. Yeah, it's some MX Master Mac keyboard that just does not work as it's intended to. But it was free. Alright, Red Rush Powder. The Dervishes have Fanatic and Unstoppable perks. They must take the Crimson Crash onus. If the Dervishes leave melee combat for any reason and do not re-engage before the end of the next turn, they lose both Fanatic and Unstoppable and gain Dead on their feet for the rest of the battle. 250 points, no need for a period. 24 Untamed Battle Maidens led by a champion mounted on a snow leopard equipped with silver spears. This reminds me of, like, I used to be hanging in my girlfriend's apartment was like a Rumpelmints, like one of those aluminum beer ads where it's like a woman on a giant boar with one eye, like holding a lance or something. Maybe she was on a bear, but I haven't thought about that thing in years. But nor have I ever drunk Rumpelmints. But I guess schnapps is what it's all about there. Oh, cool. So we don't have points for these women, and we need to have them. Let's see. But yeah, I was probably thinking about that beer ad while I was doing this. Equipped with silver spears. The Battle Maidens have the Scorned onus and cannot attach a Maiden of the Winds or use the Oracle or auxiliary abilities. Alright, so that means that we have to add up our points, sadly. So 375 plus 125, that's 500. um, 750, 1,000, 1,250. Let's do just 250 points. But yeah, I guarantee that I did not add this up correctly. We could just take out the archers if that doesn't work out. So yeah, 1,000. Oh, well, it does. We do need all these spaces in here just because they're blocks of text to kind of break it up. So 500, 750, 1,750. Yeah, and then this adds up to 750. Oh, yeah, so giving them 250 does make sense. Let me just make sure one more time. I should use a calculator for this like I had some sense. So 500, 750, 1,000, 1,250, 1,750, 2,000. Yeah, I'm short points, actually. 1,000, 1,250, 1,500, 1,750. Yeah. So, and I think he was supposed to have. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, I did that. Yeah, well, they seem. Yeah, let's just give 500 points for the battle maidens. And we just. That fixes our thing. Well, it's a little lame that mercenary infantry. Cool. All right, so there we go. So this is just kind of filler, actually, here. This is just a matter that goes between the chapters to kind of give somebody what's going on. I think it might not make it into the final book, because it really is kind of like a pain to have your chapters broken up by all this stuff. I don't know, we'll see. I have not made up my mind one way or the other. Yeah, I'm hoping if I can get some editing done early this morning, that I can work on the other show a little bit. So let's get into this here. So this is the actual chapter 16, and I am trying to figure out a name for this chapter. Una breezed into Dr. Suarez's office like she'd never heard of bone spurs. She was on a roll. Robin was eating well, sleeping through the night, and his color had improved. Robin was eating well. He was sleeping through the night, and his color had improved. He complained a bit about headaches, but who didn't? It was probably from staying up all night reading. Yeah, let's just cut that out. Yeah, it doesn't improve the thrust of our argument in this paragraph. Una breezed into Dr. Suarez's office like she'd never heard of bone spurs. She was on a roll. Robin was eating well. He was sleeping through the night, and his color had improved. He complained a bit about headaches, but who didn't? It felt like Robin was himself again. All right, there we go. Una breezed into Dr. Suarez's office like she'd never heard of bone spurs. She was on a roll. Robin was eating well. He complained a bit about headaches, but who didn't? He was sleeping through the night, and his color had improved. It felt like he was himself again. Robin was excited to go to the game club today and chattered about his battle plan the whole way over. Una couldn't understand a tenth of what he said, but the important thing was he was happy, and so was she. There were new tires on the Falcon. Just yesterday, Father Domingo had said her birds were the best he'd ever seen. She was excited to share all the good news with Dr. Suarez. The look on Cassandra Suarez's face stopped. The look on Cassandra Suarez's face stopped Una cold. A folder of x-rays was spread on her desk. Una wished she could turn right around and run. She straightened up and stood before the desk with her hands balled at her side. "Please, sit down," Dr. Suarez requested. "What happened?" "We found something." That is ominous. No. All right. I want this to kind of be in bold or something like that. I mean, how many O's can you get away with? You need a few or it looks weird. No. There's some famous no screams in cinema. Wait, hold on. Let me see. I guess the Darth Vader one is I think Lex Luthor had one too. A bunch of superhero pap. Wow. Wow, Brave, you are garbage. Yeah, this is a question for AI, if ever there were one. The most famous is Darth Vader's agonizing no at the end of Star Wars Episode 3. When he learns of Padme's death. Okay, so in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, but it's the 2011 one. The hysterical outburst, Al Pacino's intense delivery in The Godfather Part 3. All right, let's see. Apparently Frodo in Fellowship of the Ring. And Back to the Future. The Mummy Returns. Kurt Russell in... Oh, yeah. Honestly, that's the one that I should have thought of there. Kurt Russell in Tombstone. But is that one where he keeps chanting no as he shoots random cowboys? Let me see. American History X. Let me see. Oh, people were already complaining about Snyder in 10 years ago when this was written. And apparently Shia LaBeouf in anything. Ugh. Yuck. All right, well, now our side is through. No! The ragged scream tore through the chapel. Burback muscled through the others gathered at the entrance, with Renegear and Duant. The ragged scream tore through the chapel. Burback muscled through the others gathered at the entrance. Runagera and Duandan followed close behind. I think there's a comma there. I don't know if I need a comma. Let's ask the Oracle. Let's see. Yeah, it feels like you don't need a comma for a while, but let's ask a robot what it thinks. Dependent clause starting with the conjunction while. No comma if the while clause comes at the end of the sentence. Yeah, so if this was at the start of the sentence, and really, I just wonder, like, if it's almost always cleaner to have your dependent clause at the end of the sentence where you do not need a comma. It seems like one of those things I should have learned about writing an eon ago. But here we are now, learning it. 30 years in. Oh. Yeah, you know, maybe if I had just gone to school for any of this, I would not be learning this 30 years in, but it might not have sunk in. I probably would have just been on booze and cocaine the whole time, so knowing me. I mean, not that I'm not now, but I digress. Gunag? Okay, so Gunag, we know, has two N's. Gunga. What the hell is a Gunga? Gunag Dorson had broken. It's all undone. The weave has warped. The thread is frayed. The Emperor has fallen. There's no one left. No one can stitch the world back together. Gunag swept his hands about the ruined chapel as he raved. Every inch of the Imperial Soul Forge had been utterly defiled. Vandals had beheaded the statues of the 8 Immaculate Saints, swapped their heads, and then They'd swap their heads and reposition the figures to suggest profane acts. The walls were subverted with chiseled blasphemies, and filth was rubbed into the gouges. Everywhere they looked, there was blood and shreds of soiled vestments. Or, I think it's vestments. I don't think there's an A in vestments. Why do I say vestments? Why is that? Yeah, I don't understand why because all my life I think I have said vestments, but I think they are actually vestments. I'm like a child. Lord have mercy. Everywhere they looked, there was blood and shreds of soiled. Now, this is kind of like an interesting one. Um, so, yeah, like, it's kind of like an interesting question. All right, hold on. I want to actually dig into why this is this way, because you have like basically like a split plural. So blood should be blood was everywhere, and then shreds of soiled vestments should be plural. Oh, another rule here. The rule you're looking for depends entirely on how the words are connected. Because you use a compound subject, blood and shreds, even though blood is singular, specifically a non-count noun, shreds is plural, joining them with n creates a single plural concept. So there is an exception for this. So if you use or, it would be whatever is closest to the verb. So, okay, so interesting. Or and nor, it's whatever falls closest to the verb, which is not a word that would. So much of grammar is just kind of implicitly understood or subconsciously understood, and I can't actually put a word on what's happening. And that's just like a dumb rule. Like, hey, what's closest to the verb? Well, the way that people talk, I can see how that happens, right? Yeah, so blood and shreds of soiled vestments were everywhere. No one here had died clean. So I don't like, I like blood more than blood stains, and like this is correct according to the clanker, but let's see. But yeah, kind of interesting to note there. There was a distant roar in Burback's ears, like thunder over the mountain. The rage would come soon. He needed a foe. The slain bodies were all tangled together in a great sacrificial pyre raised before the icon of the Emperor. A ring of scorched skulls. Mm-hmm. The burned bodies were all tangled together in a great sacrificial pyre raised before the icon of the Emperor. A ring of scorched skulls were set around the blackened bones. Oh, the ring is, wow, a lot of like confusion between singular and plural here. So a ring, the ring is the actual subject. So a ring of scorched skulls was set around the blackened bones. Burback's gorge rose as he realized they were too small. As he realized the skulls were too small to have been adults. Above the ashes, the huge icon, where skulls were from the island of Skullsweir. She-Man. All right. Yeah, why didn't they just make the new He-Man She-Man and just enrage everybody? I need drama that both sides hate. All right. She-Man. And the power of Grayskull. All right. Above the ashes, the huge icon of the Emperor loomed. His golden skin was smeared with dung. Only the sapphires of his eyes were untainted, the better to witness this horror. Chained against him, upside down. Wow, we really get into the gore and stuff here. He'd been slit open. Oh, the High Hammer Priest was chained to the icon, upside down. He'd been split open, and the Imperial script was stuffed into his innards. So the Imperial script is like their Bible in this particular thing. Cool. The High Hammer Priest was chained to the icon, upside down. He'd been slit open, and his innards were stuffed with pages ripped from the Imperial script. Everything crawled with rot. Where is their shepherd? What god would allow this? Gunag wailed. Sir. Yeah, so we don't have a period here. Captain Wemble approached Gunag, palms raised. So Gunag should have... let's just do a find all. Okay. Cool. And then let's go all the way back. And then try to find our place in the story. We can just go to 16, I guess. Control find 16. Back to the Battle of Wintermoor. Okay, cool. So that should fix all of the Gunags. Gunag. Dum 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 dum. Alright. So hopefully no spoilers for anybody watching. But yeah, we jumped to like page 400. Where is their shepherd? What god would allow this? Sir, Captain Wemble approached Gunag, palms raised. Two stout lieutenants were close at hand. Their expressions were bitter and resigned. This place had not seen the end of horror. I am not a sir. I am not a man. None of you are. We should have prevented this. We failed them. We failed them because the Emperor failed us. Sir, control yourself, Wemble pleaded. I will not. My eyes are open. Hear me now, all of you. We followed a lie. The Emperor is a powerless fraud. Chaos reigns supreme. Captain Wemble could take no more. His mailed fist wrapped around Gunag's throat and choked his blasphemy short. Gunag made no move to defend. Instead, he locked his hands around Captain Wemble's neck and matched him, strength for strength. The two lieutenants rushed in to peel his arms off, but Gunag was a man possessed. They could not overcome him. Yeah, this chapter's rolling now. Oh yeah. Help, a lieutenant cried. The right lieutenant cried. Burback surged forward and wrenched Gunag's wrist until the bones gave out. Captain Wemble slipped from Gunag's grip and fell into the ashes, senseless. Gunag did not cry when his bones broke. Through his swollen throat he croaked, I curse this place. May the void rise and swallow you all. Gas raced around the room. The air seemed to chill as the devourer was invoked. You first, Burback growled. Burback grabbed the master halberdier by his hair and yanked down so hard the two lieutenants who held his arm could not hang on. Burback grabbed the master halberdier by his hair. Burback grabbed the master halberdier by his hair and wrenched him from the arms of the two lieutenants. Gunag's forehead banged against the filthy flags and split open. He tried to rise, but Burback's boot came down on the back of his skull. That was all. No one would ever forget that sound. There was great disquiet among the halberdiers after. It'd be among the Imperials. There was great disquiet among the Imperials after. Justice should have come from us, not a dwarf. It'd be a lot easier if, The left lieutenant growled. A few grumbled in agreement. Most stayed silent. All were afraid of the wild-eyed berserker. Berserker is capital. Boom. You had your chance. Any of you lose your spine and start spewing that chaos blather, that's what happens. You had your chance. If any of you lose your spine and start spewing that chaos blather, you'll get the same. Burback kicked the master halberdier's limp remains. Don't like it? Step outside with me. Burback's eyes blazed around the profane chapel. There were no takers. That's right. Now, let's clear out of here before... Hold. Mm-hmm. So that's one where I think I may have, does now need a comma. Yes. So now as an introductory word or after transition rather than a strict marker of time, it's an instruction or an exclamation to get the characters moving. I agree entirely. You would drop the comma only if now is being used to strictly mean at this exact moment. So as in, we must leave now before they find us. Now is our only chance to escape. All right, cool. So it fits with the spoken cadence. I'm a little worried about the extent to which AI may be poisoning my mind. And I may just become over-reliant on it here, but I didn't know any of this grammar in any of the, like, several other edits that we did here, so it's possible I'm never going to learn that. I just... And then dwarves should be capital here. That's right. Now, let's clear out of here before... Hold! Burback stopped mid-sentence and held up a fist. The dwarves heard it first, then the elves, then the men. Prescoat was last. He looked around in confusion, too old to hear the drone. Young Bobbert grabbed his master by the arm and led him outside. What is it? Prescoat asked. There's a strange sound. It's very low, Bobbert explained. Prescoat squinted hopelessly about the jagged hills. Far away a war horn sounded, and then others joined it. The low sound grew louder. The ground began to vibrate. Then tremors began. Young Bobbert braced Prescoat to keep him on his feet. Oh my, Prescoat gulped. A moment later, the quake brought them both to their knees. Form up, Burback howled, barely audible above the roar. The ground rippled and rolled, fluid as the sea. All around the ragtag army, the earth split into fissures and broke. Disaster was upon them. Okay, so... we're going to move all the points and stuff like that later. Well, let's do that later, because I'm kind of on a roll. Let me see how many words are in this chapter. So this is definitely, the chapter's going to be here. And we want to, all right, so let's just do chapter 16 here. And see, I like that, so one thing I noticed today, this is really annoying, is that I can paste from Google Docs into Royal Road, which is here, and it will retain the italics. I believe. Wait, did it retain my italics? Do I have italics in here? I mean, that's the main thing. Is that copy and pasting? No. I mean, if there are no italics, I don't care. Okay, chaos reigns supreme. All right, let's see if Okay, cool. Supreme is indeed italics. So pasting from uh Google Drive, specifically Google Docs, retains italics, but pasting from iCloud on the web does not. And I think you need to like explicitly give permission to iCloud to access the clipboard for that to work. I could test it in some other thing, but yeah, it really is a pain with Royal Road doing this. So what should we call this chapter? Uh, mhm. We found something. Okay. So this is a weird one where let's save our changes here. Your chapter has been successfully edited. So I deleted this chapter. Warning, this chapter is not publicly visible. Yeah, I'm aware. And then we can restore the chapter here. And then if we go back to our dashboard, it really is a pain to navigate this because I accidentally pasted a chapter of, what you call it? So only 970 words. A little light for a chapter, but Martillo really has like a lot of little 750 and maybe there might be a chapter that's like 500 words in there somewhere. But the book itself is fairly long. Let's see. All right, and then let's edit this chapter. Because we do not need. Yeah, that's fine. Oh no, actually, we do need the two things. Looks like trash. Oh, all right, all looks good to me. We can save changes, but really, we did not make any changes. Okay, so there's chapter 16. Keep in mind, if you're watching this at a later time and you enjoy the story, I would love it if you joined Royal Road and 5-starred this sucker. Because, Lord, I don't like seeing all those empty stars floating on the sky. But, all right. So, avert your eyes. I'm just going to look ahead so I don't spoil this for anybody who's reading along. Okay, cool. So 17 is actually the chapter where we're gonna put all those units and stuff like that. Okay, cool. So let's go here. And I'm trying not to be lazy and to edit my manuscript at the same time that I'm editing Royal Road. It's important just because like later, you know, when I'm banned from Royal Road, I will need like some of these edits that I've made. I know I'm gonna have to go back to Arcanist and make a lot of changes. I think right now the Royal Road version of the Arcanist is the canon one, just because there are edits in it that have not been applied to. What happens is somebody will in the chat write like a correction or something like that, and then I'll make it on Royal Road, and I will be too lazy to do it on the manuscript, and so just those edits aren't in the version control essentially, and I'm way too lazy. So let's get to. No, don't do 2 fucking copies of it. All right, there we go. All right, so chapter 17 is going to start with all this stuff. And this will be the Battle of Wintermoor. And then the chapter will be entitled, How Is That Fair? All right, so we already added all this. How is that fair? Sandy complained. He swept his hand at the sparkling monstrosity in disgust. He rolled a 1, Vlad shrugged. Yeah, but come on. He's brand new. Oh, we definitely. How did that make it in there? how did how did that escape my edit? Like the middle of the sentence quotation mark. Yeah, but come on. Yeah, but come on. He's brand new. You gave him bad advice. Don't metagame the campaign. I'm not even gonna play. This is stupid. Which one of you wrote this dumb event? Sandy complained to the whole room. No one spoke up. Coffee. Oh man, Coffee Quilt. It has been a hot second there. Good lord. I'm about halfway through. I bring writers and friends of writers, though they may be sleeking. Oh, awesome. Yeah, glad to hear it. It's getting a little quiet over here. My schedule is, I have profound sleep apnea, so I just have like intense difficulty sticking to like a regular schedule. I'm always waking up like 2 hours before I'm supposed to, and then just like sitting around and so forth. I'm meant to be editing this at like 4 p.m., but I just said screw it, let's get something done. I don't have like enough. It's 7 p.m. for me, so it's dinner time. So if it's 7 p.m. for you, you are in like Mumbai or something, uh, or maybe like Singapore if I remember correctly. It's one of those. Yeah, if I might as well do the. I know, right? Let's get some editing done. There. Yeah, don't dox yourself, but I think you might have Tokyo. Oh man. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah. My homie was gonna go through to Tokyo. You know what? I may actually have to go through in what is it, August or something like that. But I want to see my homie Time Cop at some point. Maybe I can talk to my buddy Lek too and get. He's like a Arab prince or something. He calls himself an imam. Maybe he can buy me a ticket to get out there. Ugh. But yeah, I've always wanted to go to Japan, and I've never been. Closest I've gotten is New Zealand. So I was literally, by the way, on my time zone guess, I was like 6 hours off because I can't do math. All right. Yeah, it's just noon over here, so not a big deal. Heading out for food. Good as you. I was editing my science fiction as a. Oh, what's your science fiction about there? Well, don't just give me the elevator pitch, and I'll check it out later. Um, but get the food. Don't hang around and talk to yours truly. I'm not even gonna play. This is stupid. Which one of you wrote this dumb event? Sandy complained. 3 women in quarantine become found family. Okay, yeah, like immediately sounds cool. What's the science fiction part of it there? Are they like all playing an MMO or virtual reality or some jazz? So I know a lot of women who write in Space Station and Aliens. Okay, I dig it. Um, I know a lot of women who write, and there are just tremendous numbers of like quarantine short stories coming out with them. Yeah, all of them were like deeply affected by the pandemic, and wrote a bunch about it there. I know one writer who's like a bunch of her stories have been about like characters that have like a suit of armor or are like their mind is hidden in somebody else's mind or something like that. It really impacted people deeply. So quarantine is it's always cool to like take people kind of out of their element so you can really focus on the content of their character. It's one of the reasons why I love Robinsonades so much because the character is stranded and you can remove a lot of their externalities and really focus on like their character flaws and like what makes them what. When you take them out of the broader society, you can really laser. You have an excuse to like laser in on things where normally somebody would be like, it doesn't really matter that you never flush the toilet because I only see you once in a while. Quarantine required by this station for a specific species traveling between quadrants. Oh, that's cool. So if you haven't already read it, there is a series called Sector General by James White, which I may have pitched you already. So I wrote an article about this for Tor.com back in the day, but it was a series about a hospital in space. Yeah, so which is amazing because like it's one of like the very few things. Yeah, the hospital ship. So definitely, I read through the whole series. It's very light. James White was one of the original creators of Star Trek, I believe. So it really just is like low stakes, well, high stakes because animals might die, but not like fighting each other and stuff. Yeah, so you're super familiar. Yeah, like great to have more kind of medical science fiction and stuff where you really have so much opportunity to like get into strange physiologies and speculative stuff. So that sounds cool. I would. How deep are you into it there? Like how far along are you? Should you be talking about this at this point? Because like if the what I say, if the first edit is not completed, chapter 5 of 10. Oh, okay, so it's like a novella or something of edits. Okay, you're in edit, then you can talk about it. It's cool. Yeah, that's my rule. I don't talk about a draft until it is done and edited at least once, because otherwise you'll never finish it. Mm-mm-mm. I too need to. Maybe I'll drive out and get some food somewhere. Maybe I'll bring my dogs to a diner or something. Yeah, Coffee Quills is like a pro. Yeah, I don't know where you found this thing. If you're on the lurk, man, I'm gonna get something to eat too. I don't know where breakfast in Tokyo was like there, or 7 p.m. I guess dinner in Tokyo. Man, that'd be baller to like wander around, find something good to eat. I'm trying to think of who I know that's living over there also. All right, well, let me get back to it. Wait, it's not just Duncan writing the scenarios? Robin asked. So this is a spot where I really, eventually I could write. So one thing that AI would be useful for is, so now I'm like wondering, does he already know this based on the manuscript? Um, because we're expressing ignorance from Robin here, and somebody might have already told him this. So I'm gonna comment on this. Comment. Because here we talk about the mechanics of the campaign, but I'm a little worried that this has been covered and he already knows this data. Wait, it's not just Duncan writing the scenarios? Robin asked. Nope, we all help. The whole club got together at the start of the season. Nope, everyone did. The whole club got together at the start of the season and we voted on scenarios and stuff. Then we generated conditions and triggers for each match. They all got randomized into those envelopes. Nope, Duncan said. Yeah, let's just say that it's, if we say that it's Duncan at the start, because it's like a paragraph of text there. So I really want the reader to know who the speaker is here, and it's a good reason to like horn in this blah said and then the rest of their paragraph afterward. Nope, Duncan said. He really kind of chirps this, but I. Nope, Duncan said. Yes, said is not what I want here. I want him to exclaim, but I don't want to use exclaim because it's too. All right. I would almost use proclaim or declared. Uh, but what is it? He. All right, let's look for declare. Yeah, I think we're gonna wind up in said. It's really difficult to have a verb for exclaim Or what can we do? Duncan doesn't assert it. He doesn't insist it. He doesn't proclaim it. He doesn't reveal. He doesn't tell it. Attest, avow, certified. He does contradict there. He doesn't inform him. Pronounce, reassert, publish, showed, stated. Yeah. You just wind up, nope, Duncan said. Everyone did. I really want like a lesser version of exclaim. Look, proclaim is too much. Exclaim is too much. Assert is wrong. Yeah, I don't know a verb that is better for this. This is my own problem. If I had more people watching, one would know. But I do not. Nope. Duncan. Let's look at see if there's something for blurt. Spouted, blabbed, disclosed. Nah, there's no good answer for this. Wait, it's not just Duncan writing the scenarios? Robin asked. Nope, Duncan said. Everyone did. The whole club got together at the start of the season and we voted on scenarios and stuff. Then we generated conditions and triggers for each match. They all got randomized into those envelopes. My dad did the sorting, so not even I know exactly what's going to happen. Huh, cool. It is. And what that means is both of these guys gave you bad advice. Neither actually knows what's in the scenario. Only the referee gets to see the Yeah, there's a lot of explanation of what's going on here. Cool. It is. And what that means is both of these guys gave you bad advice. Neither actually knows what's in the scenario. Only referees get to see the secrets. When I'm in a match, Vlad or Chuck take over as referee, so I can't rule in my own favor. All right. It's a little clunky as a paragraph. It's killer, Robin said. I wish I'd been there. Next year. But I guess not being part of the campaign planning does put you at a disadvantage. Next year. You're kind of at a disadvantage since you weren't there. How about this? It's still turn one. If you want, I'll let you mulligan your first move. What? No, you can't do that, Vlad protested. I'm the referee for their match. I absolutely can, Duncan countered. Take the mulligan, Sandy advised. Look at those stats. You're going to get wiped. Robin looked down at the battle log. Robin looked at his diario. His moves were written in pen. He wanted to see what would happen. Es lo que hay. Robin said. His mother always used to say that. Huh? Duncan squinted. C'est la vie, Vlad translated. Hein? Duncan joked. Por favor, en inglés, señor Martillo. What? In English, please. It is what it is. Let's play. No, so here, because the characters explicitly translate all of this, we don't need to have the parenthetical translations, and it works a little better. Por favor, en inglés, señor Martillo. It is what it is. Let's play, Robin said. I've been waiting for this all season, Duncan gushed. Robin knew he'd made the right choice, even if it was the wrong move. I've been waiting for this all season, Duncan gushed. Robin was 100% sure it was Duncan's event. Duncan rolled a big handful of dice. Robin was now 100% sure it was Duncan's event. This should be another paragraph. Duncan grinned wide as he shook a big handful of dice. All right, cool. So, kind of cool there in that we don't reveal what's actually happening in the chapter. I'm surprised I thought of doing this. It's kind of cool. Like, now I'm, as a person who's forgotten most of the story, I'm like, what the hell is the glittering monstrosity? So, I think we do an okay job. I don't think we reveal it either in this. So, I think we do an okay job before this, even though we, I think they reveal a little earlier what it is, but I think it works in terms of building tension and stuff. With a howl, the air around them ripped away. Young Bobbert was nearly pulled from his feet. The air around them ripped away as the beast breathed in. The air around them ripped away as the beast inhaled. Young Bobbert was nearly pulled from... he was nearly sucked from his feet. Young Bobbert was nearly sucked from his feet. One of Hilg's shield-bearers grabbed the boy by the hem of his robe and yanked him back to earth. The scattered forces reeled. Some screamed and some prayed. Burback Breakbow faced his doom with his axe in his hands and a snarl on his lips. He charged at their invincible foe. Then all was silent. The war horns in the hills drained away. The hooves of the horsemen fell silent. Their savage screams were snuffed. Even Burbach's own battle cry drained away to nothing. Darkness stole the sun. The sky tinged a queer turquoise, and the enemy army shuddered in place. It felt as if every mote of his being was knocked out of... No. It felt as if every mote of Burbach's being was knocked out of alignment. A flare of searing white light dazzled Burbach, and a sound broke the silence, like heavy rain beating against metal. He charged on, totally blind. His sight returned slow as a... Yeah. His sight returned as a blur of shimmering ghosts. It seemed like an entire mountain was on the move. As the glare faded, he saw a great serpentine bulk. As the glare faded, he saw a serpentine bulk burst from the earth. Boulders crashed down. Great waves of soil shook from its sides, and underneath, faceted scales shone like molten silver. Now the adversary was revealed. The jutting stones were spines. The spiral ridge round around the chapel was the body of a buried worm. Burbach knew their foe. Eravitramor, the diamond drake. That was an awful sentence. No weapon could pierce Eravitramor's diamond hide. His breath was knives. His strength was inconceivable, and his hunger was insatiable. Entire kingdoms of dwarves had vanished into that awful maw of faceted fangs. The halberdiers trembled and broke in terror. The elves stood frozen in place, hypnotized by the beast's terrible grandeur. The torrential sound stilled, their ears popped, and there was a disorienting moment. There was a disorienting moment where their ears popped as Prescott's orb of occlusion, the orb of occlusion should be capital, it's a spell. Wait, am I italicizing spells in this? Oh, I don't remember. Whoa. Yeah, let's italicize it. Prescott's orb of occlusion broke, and space sprang back into place. A great ring of crystal knives were scattered. They're not knives, they're shards. A great ring of crystal shards were scattered around the heartbroken brigade. Prescott the Sage had saved them all. To the east, an entire ring of Reaver cavalry was ripped apart by Eravitramor's shard breath. Oh. Oh, God. Why do I let myself do this? To the west, the second wing of the In the west, the second wing of the windsworn horsemen broke and fled. Their general screamed... General Ureg screamed to reform, but his men were crazed by fear. All were powerless save Burbak's berserkers. Fueled by a hatred older than history, the dwarves charged forward. Eravitramor, non timeo mortis, Burbak roared the I fear no death in Latin. I don't know why dwarves are chatting in Latin, but indeed they are. Eravitramor, non timeo mortis, Burbak roared the ancient challenge. I fear no death. The prismatic eyes of Eravitramor fell upon Burbak Breakbow. His jagged maw yawned wide in a glittering grin. After his long underground slumber, the berserkers would be a perfect... After his long underground slumber, a squad of berserkers would be a perfect snack. The drake surged forward, and the earth shattered. So, it's a problem. Drakes are specific. They need to be capital. Ugh. The drake surged forward, and the earth shuddered with every step. That means we have to go all the way back to it's a drake. All right, let's do it. Yeah. So all instances of Drake should be uppercase. Oh, there's like 70 instances. I don't want to go through set. Let's do it. All right. Drake. Mm. I fucked up one of these. Next. Yeah, turn away if you don't want spoilers. Just FYI. Next. Wait, did we replace all these? Alright, so... Yeah, this is the one error that I made here. Shard Drake plate. Alright, and then... Okay, cool. It felt like we had 70 of these, and then we... Alright, so let's go back to 17. Previous. There we go. Oh. Alright. Had to be done, boys. Had to be done. Yeah, because otherwise I just, given myself effort for a long time and I would forget some of them. Alright, let's get back to this. The drake surged forward, and the earth shuddered with every step. Burbeck, Cinnabanathi cried out. Their bond freed her from the dragon trance. From the trance. She put her fingers to her lips and blew a shrill whistle to rouse the rest of the Hawkmoon from their stupor. To rouse the Hawkmoon from their stupor. Cool. With their master dead, the halberdiers had no one to rally them. The Imperials fled towards the shelter of the ruined keep, in a race with a broken troop of Reaver spearmen. So Reaver needs to be capital too. Reaver spearmen. Out of camaraderie between polemen, or more likely from sheer terror, neither side attacked the other. For a mad moment, the windsworn general charged at the drake on his lonesome, with a great silver sword raised in either hand. The sight was enough to rally his horsemen and spearmen back into the fight. Horsemen and spearmen are both unit types. It was impossible to tell if their target was the drake. Hilg ignored the craven reavers and formed his shield-bearers in a wall between Eravitramor and the Hawkmoon. A lucky shot might be their only hope. Bobbert the apprentice buttressed Prescoat, for he could not stand without aid. For his master could not stand without aid. The effort of casting the greater orb of occlusion had sorely drained the sage. Eravitramor, I never dreamed I'd see one of the world drakes. What terrible beauty. Do not meet his eyes. They are the facets of death. The time has come. Unhand me, boy. Give me the black scroll. Master, Bobbert cried out, and pulled at his sleeve. Prescoat's sleeve, yeah. Ooh. Do it, the sage exhorted. He shook his arm free and stood alone on shaky legs. Cinnabanathi, draw the beast to me. I need him close, Prescoat yelled. The berserkers set upon the drake. Runagir and Duandan hacked at Eravitramor's underbelly, but their dwarf forge axes shattered against the impervious scales. A great claw crashed down. Runagir rolled aside, but Duandan was done. He was swept up and flung into the awful maw. His thick armor was no more... His steel armor was no more than the skin of a grape to Eravitramor's diamond teeth. Burback's truest companion was chewed up in a peal of shrieking steel. Duandan's heavy armor was no more than the skin of a grape to Eravitramor. Let's say against. Duandan's heavy armor was no more than the skin of a grape against Eravitramor's diamond teeth. Burback's truest companion was chewed up in a peal of shrieking steel. The blackest of rages loomed before Burback, but he had to resist. He needed his wits. Raw strength was nothing against this monstrosity. Seeing their strikes were fruitless, Burback sprang onto the drake and began to climb. The diamond scales were sharper than razors. They sliced through his gauntlets and bit into bone, but Burback climbed on. A single berserker was as meaningless as a flea to Eravitramor. Ignoring the dwarf, the drake reeled at an approaching... The drake wheeled on the windsworn spearman and drew a deep breath. The Reavers raised their the Reavers raised their shields, but the stretched hide and reindeer bone was no protection. But stretched hide and reindeer bone were no protection. But stretched hide and reindeer bone were no protection against the bladed breath of the diamond drake. They died to a man. The drake wheeled. The drake wheeled. His tail swept through 3 berserkers and culled them like a scythe. Or scythe. Was it scythe or scythe? Scythe. His tail swept through 3 berserkers and culled them like a scythe. I mean, I can't remember how to say... I think... Alright. I think it's scythe. Oh, it's scythe?
Scythe.
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 Some... Like, the Irish are to blame for this nonsense. Culled them like a scythe. The sound of sorcery caught Aravitramor's attention. His diamond gaze burned past the shield bearers to the doddering... What was that? His diamond gaze burned past the shield bearers to the doddering sage and his tiny apprentice. Apprentice is capital. Again, he began to draw a terrible breath. "Burbeck!" Cinnabenathi cried again, not from alarm but amazement. Weeping a tale of blood from 1,000 cuts, Burbeck Breakbro scaled Aravitramor's long neck and swung himself right between the great drake's eyes. The prismatic irises crossed, unable to focus. With a crimson grin, Burbeck drew his axe back and hacked at the drake's slitted pupil. A nicotinating... A crystal membrane flicked over the eye. It's a nicotinating membrane, but like nicotinating doesn't sound good. Fantasy. At the drake's slitted pupil. A crystal membrane flicked over the eye to protect it, but the heavy axe cleaved through and bit deep. Blood and glue flew... Why do I have this set? Blood and goo flew as Burbeck hacked again and again, deep into the jeweled eye. With a roar of pain, Aravitramor raked a claw across his face and swept aside the crazed insect. The crazed dwarf. From an... wait, I don't understand why I'm... from an astonishing height, Burbeck hurtled through the air. Burbeck hurtled through the air, crashed into the dirt, rolled 40 paces, and was still. "Aim for the right eye," Cinnabenathi cried, and raised her... Okay. So her bow needs to be a Heart's Bane bow. so many parts of like a fantasy story, like so much stuff that I need to keep uh, in track. And honestly, like every book you ever read, like and a lot of these are things that I added later because I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's what's happening. Or there we go. Yeah, there actually is. You know what it is? It's a break in the cheap cable that's round through. Oh, it's gonna be such a pain to get the built-in cable out of here. Yeah, if you buy a boom arm that has a cable inside of it, eventually that boom arm will die when the cable does. And they always cheap out on them too, right? They don't do good bracing inside. I think this is like a frameworks Gator frameworks too. They're supposed to be a good brand, but the shareholders get in there and they're like, what if we saved a cent on every one? I'd get to put a new coat of orphan blood on my boat. And then that's what happens. Every time and time again. I fear no death. Aim for the right eye, Cinnabonathi cried and raised her heartsbane bow. The Hawkmoon is plural already. The Hawkmoon took aim and launched a volley of shrieking arrows. All fell short, save Cinnabonathi's. Her arrow screamed through the black of the dragon's eye. So this is kind of interesting here, where we do dragon's eye instead of bullseye, right? Well, let's keep it, but an editor will change this. Run, she cried. The elves took flight. Enraged, the blinded drake charged forward and plowed through the shield bearers. Diamond claws cut furrows into the ridge where the Hawkmoon had fled moments before. Enraged, the blinded drake charged forward, plowed through the shield bearers and trampled them. Diamond claws cut furrows into the ridge where the Hawkmoon had fled moments before. Eravitramor howled, loud enough to burst ears. The pierced eye darted crazily about, looking for Cinnabonathi. Instead, Eravitramor found Prescote the Sage. Prescote was unperturbed by the deafening roar, for his hearing was nearly gone anyway. The spell was almost cast. The spell was nearly complete. At the final line, Prescote looked up from the black scroll and pitted his aged eyes against Eravitramor's ravaged orbs. His lips curled in a wizened grin. The facets of death, indeed. His lips curled in a wizened smile. The facets of death, indeed. Prescote invoked the final sigil with all his might. As he spoke the ruinous words, the scroll disintegrated into motes of blinding light. So too did Prescote. In a single, all-consuming invocation, the sage's entire being was transmuted into raw power and poured upon Eravitramor in an avalanche of unbearable light. The force was poured upon Eravitramor in an avalanche of unbearable light. With a sky-splitting shriek, Eravitramor turned aside, but it was too late. His diamond scales grew luminous as stars. As the stars, and his diamond scales grew luminous as stars and broke apart in 1,000 explosions of pure white light. All over the battlefield, the dazzled survivors reeled and wept. His half-melted remains thundered to the earth. All over the battlefield, the dazzled survivors reeled and wept. When their senses returned, they looked about in awe. They were all witness to a matchless sacrifice, a triumph for the ages. Prescote the sage was gone. Eravitramor the diamond drake was slain. No effin' way, Sandy moaned, as Duncan turned the rhinestone-studded dragon on its side next to Robin's general. Language, Una barked from the doorway. The whole room flinched. Nice. All right, I'm loving it. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. Nice. Nice chapter. Yeah. Very good. All right, so I like this crazy battle. It is really written in a tremendously ham-fisted style. Maybe like so ham-fisted that the fact that it's meant to be like not parody but homage to like White Dwarf may be too much. Really and truly, but F it. You know, I'm going in. F it. Oh, I don't have to pay for cursing if nobody's watching. Okay, so there's that. And then I love that let's see. I love the Battle of Eravitramor sounds kind of Heartbroken Brigade. Okay, and then this is wrong in the book itself. Let's go back and fix that. How did I miss it? It's probably like between two pages. Yeah, that guy. Okay, so I think the Battle of Eravitramor. All right, and then let's just make sure that formatting is cool here. Es lo que hay. Es lo que hay. No, it's hey. I like that the thing is studded with rhinestones. Okay, cool. So we got to get through 2 chapters today. If we can just do 2 chapters every day for the rest of July, I believe that we will be done with this thing. So I'm gonna make that my solemn pledge. Let me see. All right, let's clean this up a little bit actually. So let's underline this. Let's don't need that. Units, allied units, general. Okay. General, hero units. Cool. All right, and then let's underline Ureg's windsworn sellswords. And then I think that we'll do it. Well, cool. So I've done everything I need to for today, except for writing a chapter, if anything. Sadly, I flamed out on that. So thank you to anybody who got in on this for today. Please, yeah. So we edited a chapter of finished an edit of Arcanist, and then we did this guy. And maybe tomorrow I can wake up at like 5 a.m. the way that I'm supposed to and go out and write. All right, I got little dogs that want to go outside, and I need to eat something, and then I have a bunch more to do today. But yeah, thank you for joining me. Enjoyed this whole deal, honestly. Like a good edit and everything. I may just have to get back to like doing this every morning and put new writing on a backseat for a little bit. But everybody's clamoring for more Arcanist or whatever. I'm really trying to take advantage. I have like a whole month where there's no relatives. Well, I have 3 weeks of no relatives around, and I really need to take advantage of this and do something good. So I'm trying hard. We need to have shows this week and all kinds of stuff, and I got a lot of cables to hook up and so forth. But yeah, thank you to everybody, especially if you consider donating to this charity thing. I think it's a good cause, and I believe you can write it off on your taxes. Don't ask me for tax advice, though. Good God. And yeah, just good to do overall. All right, thank you, everybody, and I will try to be back tomorrow for more live editing.